Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu ji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Okay, get started. Okay, so I hope you all got a chance to read through the purports from the last class.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, good. Okay, so now we'll offer prayers. So welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadadi Swapadandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sachivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sakitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpadarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namavom Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaurabhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Dharma Projita Kaitavotra Paramo Nirmatsaranam Satam Vedyam Vastavamatra Vastu Sivadam Tapatrayon Srimad Bhagavate Mahamune Krite Kim Va Parairishvaraha Sadhyo Hridi Avarudhyate Atrabhishu Shrubi Tatsanat Nigamakalpataror Galitam Phalam Sukamukha Amrita Drava Samyutam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhuraho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavukaha Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punyashravana Kirtanaha Hridayantasto hi abhadrani Vidunoti Sugratsatam Yate Cham Sakala Pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indriyari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayante Yuge Yuge Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Nama Pankajanabhaya Nama Pankaja Maline Nama Pankaja Netraya Namashe Pankajangraye Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Okay, welcome all. So we'll just do a quick recap as to what we read in the previous class. So today we'll be completing the chapter 1 of Canto 2. So next week we will be having some quiz and test and things like that. So whatever slokas have been given, please ensure to remember those slokas. Is Radharani Mataji there? Okay. So Rasaj Prabhu, is the publishing of slokas done to all the members as a reminder? Okay, it is done. Okay. So let me just share the screen again for all of you. Yeah, so this is the sloka Mataji published. Okay. So the first sloka is 2.1.1 Sri Sukha Vacha Varyanyeshate Prashnaha Krito Lokahitam Nripa Atmavit Sammata Pumsam Shrotavyadishiya Paraha. Right. So Sukadeva Goswami is congratulating Parikshit Maharaj for asking wonderful questions, glorious questions. He says, Varyan. Okay. Then Sukadeva Goswami is telling there are different kinds of audience sitting here, right? Some of them can relate to Bhagavan. That is this audience where Srimad Bhagavatham is going to be spoken. Some of them can relate to Bhagavan. Some of them can relate to Hari. Hari here refers to the impersonal form. And some of them refer to Lord Vishnu, Brahma, Shiva, Sarvatma. So there are three kinds of realizations: Bhagavan, Ishvara, Hari. Right? So based on that, he is establishing the context of the worship of using Bhakti Yoga practices. Right? So that's the sloka. Tasmat Bharata Sharvatma Bhagavan Ishvara Hari Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha Smartavyascha Chatabhayam. Right? So, depending on what they worship, they will end up in fearlessness because Lord is the protector and the shelter of all the living entities. Okay. Then in the next sloka, he is talking about what can be highest perfection of life to the human beings. So he says, Yatabhyam Sankhya Yogyabhyam Swadharma Parinishtaya Janmalabha Parapumsan Ante Narayana Smriti. So here what he says is life can be perfected when one practices the worship of Narayana throughout his life. When the practice of worship of Narayana throughout his life perfects, then what happens? It results in Ante Narayana Smriti. That means at the end of the life, he will achieve his supreme goal, that is the lotus feet of personality of Godhead. So that is the main aspect that one should focus their life on and also make changes in their life so that they are achieving or heading towards Ante Narayana Smriti. Okay. Then the next sloka is 2.11, where he is concluding, in the 11th sloka, he is concluding what is the real purpose and the culmination of one's devotion service and how we can go on practicing that. Right? So, Etan nirvidyamananam ichchatam akuto bhayam yoginam nripa nirnitam hare namanukirtanam. So he says, O king, constant chanting the holy name of the Lord after the ways of great authorities and doubtless and fearless way to success for all, including those who are free from material desires. That means for everyone that is the solution, right? And by practicing Hare Nama and Kirtanam, one can perfect their life. All aspects of knowledge, transcendental knowledge, all aspects of crossing over this material world, which is the forgetfulness of the Lord, one can remember and remain in the shelter of Lord Narayana by Hare Namanu Kirtanam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Sorry for interrupting, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Here, Prabhu, in this verse, in the translation, Prabhu, what is the meaning of this Lord after the ways of great authorities? I didn't understood, Prabhu. Here, can you kindly a little bit elaborate, Prabhu?
See, he says there are many kinds of people. I think the cut and paste problem is there, some grammatical error is there. But the meaning of the sloka is like this, right? There are, there are different kinds of people, okay? But for all of them, there are certain personalities who have demonstrated, who are called like role models or authorities or, realized souls, right? So they have demonstrated that this is the solution and this is the way to go ahead and complete your life. Okay. One need not have doubts. One need not have, oh, I'm doing this. Is it the right thing to do? Am I wasting my life? So one need not have any of those doubts and clarities. They can just take these role models and authorities and then you can just go on practicing, right? Now, one may think that, hey, that is only for sannyasis, or that is only for practicing devotees, that is only for yogis, not for us. No. Here, this sloka is trying to tell even a fully materially inflected person, okay, who have lots of
Yes.
doubts, who are into material enjoyment, even for them, this is a solution. What solution? Hare Namana Kirtanam. That's what it says. Okay.
Hari Hari.
Okay. So
Okay,
now
Prabhu.
what?
Thank you.
Yeah. So now we'll go back to our sloka and then we'll begin our discussion here today. Did you all get a chance to go through the flow chart that we prepared?
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhu. Yes,
Prabhu.
Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
So
Yes,
now we
Prabhu.
will, based on that flow chart, we will begin our discussion today. So in the end of chapter 1, what did we conclude? So Parikshit Maharaj is asking questions to Sukadeva Goswami, right? He asked many questions, and his conclusive questions are, the first set of questions was what? What should one do in his life while he is alive, and what are the activities that one should perform at the time of his death? Right? So that's the first question he asked. Then the starting of chapter 2, what did he ask? He said, what one should hear, chant, and remember, and what one should not hear, chant, and remember. Right? So, for which Sukadeva Goswami explained that the sound vibration is the one which can deliver a living entity. But what sound vibration? Today, if you meet with people or you go around in the material world, there's so much of sound that is coming, right? People's conversation, people topics. So there are many things to talk: politics, sports, unlimited topics, science, philosophy, education, this, that, it just goes on. But will all those topics deliver us? No, it won't deliver us. So Sukadeva Goswami is concluding the topics that are pertaining to the activities of the Lord, Krishna, is one that will deliver. So that is what Sukadeva Goswami was trying to answer Parikshit question in the first 11 text of this chapter, right? Where he said what to chant, what to remember, and what to chant, what to remember. Okay. So then you should not also do chanting. That means unwanted conversations, unwanted discussions on certain topics, because those are useless for this human purpose of life. Okay. Then, after answering that question, he establishes the position of Bhakti Yoga. So, we talked about that particular sloka, right? Lord can be realized as Bhagavan, Ishvara, Sarvatma, right? There are different kinds of people who see the Lord in that manner. Some want to do business transaction with the Lord. Some think the Lord is impersonal. Some think the Lord is just confined to a particular concept according to their consciousness. And some think Lord is Bhagavan, all pervading Lord through his energy, and still a personal form of the Lord. That means there are different kinds of people, and they have particular or different kinds of relationship with the Lord according to their perceptions, right? So then we discuss that part of the topic. Then after discussing that part of the topic, we saw that Parikshit Maharaj had 3 questions that he was trying to ask. Now, why he asked the 3 questions? Because Sukadeva Goswami began explanation on Ashtanga Yoga. Why began explanation on Ashtanga Yoga? He said that in this audience, there were 10,000s of sages, many people were there. In this audience, there are people who still believe that Ashtanga Yoga, that means I have to put all my effort, all the difficulties by my own self and get liberation. And such people do not understand the merciful nature of the Lord. Okay? Such people do not understand the personal form of the Lord. So, for their purpose, I want to speak Ashtanga Yoga. He began Ashtanga Yoga. And at the end of the Ashtanga Yoga, Sukadeva Goswami is going to conclude that Bhakti Yoga is the supremacy. And it's the ultimate goal of life. So, for which he gave 3 examples. What are the 3 examples he gives? He said his own personal example. That means he was impersonal in his nature. But when he heard the 2 sloka recited by the disciples of Vedavyas, by his father, he realized Lord is personal. Lord cannot be impersonal. So he just left his practices and came back and then learned Srimad Bhagavatam through a systematic study from his father. So he said he quoted his personal example. Then he quoted the examples of the four Kumaras. How the smell of the tulsi pierced their nostrils and they became personal. Oh, he said, oh, we are impersonal. This is wrong. This is the real personality of God. He's got features, he's got anga, he's got different limbs and different parts, just like it. And I have made a big, offense by thinking Lord is impersonal. Right? Then he said, the Bhakti Yoga is so supreme that focuses on the personal aspects of the Lord and which makes us to establish relationship with that Lord. Then he also gave the example of Ashtanga. What is that Rishi? Katwanga Rishi. So he gave the example of Katwanga Rishi where he said, one who's realized, he can even get moksha, that is liberation, even in one muhurta. And it was practically demonstrated by Katwanga Rishi. Right? So Katwanga Rishi in his entire life, if you see, even though he was fighting for the demigods, his consciousness was just like Arjuna. What is Arjuna doing? Krishna says, no, while Arjuna, you fight this war, which is going to be gory, which is going to be, high tense environment, and it is going to be fast paced. Still, every move of your warfare activities must be in remembrance of me and as an offering to me. That means Arjuna demonstrated that even of the difficult times that we can remember the Lord and make an offering to the Lord. That's what Arjuna demonstrated. So here Sukadeva Goswami is telling that even though Katwanga Rishi was fighting for the demigods against the demons, his consciousness was just like that. He was always remembering the Lord. When activities were all over, when he finished completing it, he came back to the earthly planet and he understood that because he was fighting the celestial planets, his time had passed so much and he had a very short time left for his death. Right? And how much time left? Just one muhurta. One muhurta is 48 minutes. So in 48 minutes, because of his practice of continuous remembrance of the Lord, he was able to sit. In Ashtanga Yoga also we say, no, the asana, pranayama, pratyahara. So he was just able to sit, renouncing all aspects of material activities and just remembering the Lord, and he got himself delivered. So Sukadeva Goswami is quoting all these examples to Parikshit Maharaj that how Bhakti Yoga is supreme and how devotees have demonstrated. Right? So we read that also. So now he is trying to conclude that there are methods like Ashtanga Yoga or any other yoga, which is also going to conclude the personal form of the Lord meditation is ultimate. You follow whichever yoga. You want to follow Nishkama Karma Yoga, or you follow Dhyana Yoga, or you follow Ashtanga Yoga, whatever yoga you want to practice. But the conclusion or the end goal is the personal form of the Lord. One who relishes the personal form of the Lord, one who is able to meditate on the limbs of the Lord, the lotus feet of the Lord, he achieves highest perfection. And that's his goal. But people like Ashtanga yogis, they may say, oh, okay, what is Bhagavan? Have you ever seen Bhagavan? I know that Vigraha is there in the temple or something like that, but how do you know that is Lord? It may be just a stone. He may not believe. Paramatma, no, he doesn't believe Paramatma. Where I have not seen Paramatma, can you show? So these people, first of all, but they have desire for liberation. But these material miseries are too difficult for me to practice. I don't want to practice this material life. I want to get liberated. So they want liberation. So for them, since they want liberation, but since they can't understand the personal feature of the Lord, a method has to be evolved so that they can understand the personal form of the Lord. And hence, this process of Ashtanga Yoga has been described here. Okay, so that is the concept that we're going to go. So now I sent the presentation, so let me share that also for all of you. Keynote, yeah. Okay, here. Right? So before coming to this one, so what we'll do is we'll just do play here. Yeah. So Parikshit Maharaj asked 3 questions. What are the 3 questions? Okay, before discussing this, we'll just understand this flow chart. Okay. So while describing the Ashtanga Yoga, Sukadeva Goswami first explained Yama Niyama. That is, activities that are conducive, activities that are prohibited. Right? So he talked about list of things to do and don'ts, do's and don'ts. That is Yama Niyama. So the first five, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, and Pratyahara, are the preparation of this body so that one can sit on the higher goal, that is meditative aspect. Okay, the object of meditation could be something else now, but first is the preparation. So this Yama, Niyama are first do's, and that means rectify your life. We may be doing certain activities which are abominable. We may be doing certain activities that are prohibited. Stop. And activities that are required, start. That's what Yama Niyama means. Okay, good. The next is asana. Asana is sitting posture. Otherwise, we are so much of chanchal that we are always busy. We are trying to move here and there, do this, do that. No, first sit in a calm place. Get your mind in a stable mode. That is asana, sitting posture. And then he explains sitting posture, how you have to sit, where your neck, head, neck, shoulder, then the back spine, to this one, all should be in a straight line. So that's the sitting posture he's telling. So he said one has to sit in that posture. Then, no control of the mind. So control of the mind can be done by the control of the breath. That is pranayama. So when you do pranayama, when you control the air through the breathing with the lungs, what happens? Immediately the mind calms. The mind may be very aggressive, maybe just moving here and there, but the mind calms. Only a calm mind can focus on the Lord. That is the goal. So, in the good sitting posture, he practiced pranayama, he is able to control the mind. The mind control comes to a stable position. That is pranayama. Now, the mind is influenced by the senses, right? So, the senses, when they are fed with material food, that is ahara. For example, the food for your nose is air, the food for your ears is sound, the food for your mouth, tongue is taste. Like that, they're fed with ahara. But these ahara are not spiritualized. These aharas are material nature because you hear whatever you want. You remember, you see whatever you want, all those things. So, the pratyahara is focusing on withdrawal of the senses. That means the mind is no more influenced by material activities. That is the post of pratyahara. So, these 5 steps makes us get preparatory to do a higher process which is called dharanasya. Okay. So now, when you withdraw your senses, when the mind has become stable, no more desires to enjoy, no more desires for sex activities, no more desire for materialistic activities. That means the consciousness is sort of purified from material engagement. Is the position. Some of them could be advanced, some of them could not be advanced. If some of them is advanced, that means if they say that the mind is purified, here, this point, is the mind purified here? Why is the mouse not coming? Okay, I'll not use this. Why is the screen sharing? Yep. Now, is the screen getting shared now?
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu.
So now here, see the cursor. So is the mind purified? Does the mind still hanker for material engagements and activities? Is the question that you should ask. If a person is able to purify the mind after the pratyahara stage, then he can practice what is called as the meditative process, the first stage of meditative process, which is called dharana. So in dharana, the object of meditation is Paramatma. What does object of meditation means? When you're sitting like this and meditating, you have to think of something, right? You have to think on meditating. Whom will you think? They will focus on Paramatma. Because they are purified of their material activities and material senses, they will be in a position to practice dharana. And dharanasya is the object of meditation, that is Paramatma, and the activity is dharana. Okay? Now, when by practicing on the Paramatma, that means it is the entry level, the first level of meditative process. By focusing, by making these steps, one will be able to focus deeper and meditate on the Paramatma form of the Lord. And that is dhyana. That is dhyana is an advanced stages of dharana. So after practicing dhyana for a long period of time, he will be able to completely see that he is not in the more in the bodily concept of life. He will reach the state of trance. In the state of trance, he will be able to realize the prana chakras. And by navigating these prana chakras, slowly he will move the soul, the life force, and on the way onto the between the two eyebrows, and from there he can liberate the soul out of the skull on the top of your head. Urdhva Pundra. And that is what is liberation. And that liberation is what is called impersonal liberation. Whether it is Paramatma or Brahman, both are impersonal liberation. Right? So his destination will become impersonal Brahmajyoti. That is the position of an Ashtanga yogi. Now we'll come back here. Is the mind purified is a question we asked. But if the mind is not purified, if the mind is purified, he's an advanced devotee. But if it's not purified, then for him, the object of meditation, that is Dharanasya. Here the Dharanasya was Paramatma. Here the Dharanasya will be Viratarupa. So he, instead of focusing on Paramatma, he's focused on Viratarupa. Why Viratarupa is very simple. So for him, you see, he doesn't believe in Paramatma. He doesn't believe in Bhagavan. But he wants liberation. So for him, what you want to tell is, you think this material world that we are in, right? Now you see there are earthly planets, there are many planets around us. You consider each of these planets as just nothing but the consolidated form of the Lord. Okay? So, we have the upper planetary system, the bottom planet, the middle planetary system, the lower planetary system. So you equate the middle planetary system to the stomach of the Lord, the hip of the Lord, and the upper planetary system are the chest, head, and all those planet of the Lord. And then the lower planetary system are all the portions below the hip of the Lord. Like that, you're telling, see, this is easy, even though this is imagination, but this is easy to concept because he's living this material world. He's seeing sun, moon, earth, all these planets moving and things like that. So this imagination is easy for him. So you're making him to imagine this as the different parts of the Lord. Because why? Somewhere or other, the impersonal thought of his mind should be slowly changed to personal thoughts. Because unless he reaches the personal thoughts, there's no success in his meditative practices. So these planetary systems are put, and it is equated to the form, the gross form of the Lord, the Virat Rupa. What is Virat Rupa? If you look at the 11th chapter also, the 13th chapter also, when Arjuna is asking Krishna, what is Virat Rupa? Show me who are you? Krishna showed the universal form, but that's material in nature. Right? It contains, the nature, it contains all the planetary system, it also contains the time events. It contains many of this. Even though it's ghastly, but it is like 3D, 4D, 10D, whatever you want to imagine. It's all around him. It was 360 degrees around Arjuna. Arjuna was just turning around and looking around. What is this? What is this? What is this? Right? So this is the, a picturesque view of this entire material universe that is created. But please understand, this material universe, how it is created from the breath of Mahavishnu or Karanadarsha Vishnu. It comes out as an anda, and when Mahavishnu breathes in back, this anda again goes into the body of Mahavishnu. That means that is the time of creation. So this entire solar system is created, manifested, maintained, and destroyed. So this Virat Rupa is also not permanent, because it explains the universal form. Just like how a universe is created, maintained, and destroyed, the Virat Rupa is also non-permanent. And hence Krishna does not advise devotees to even focus or remember, practice anything on the Virat Rupa form of the Lord. Right? So now, by somehow practicing it, his mind may get purified. Who? The Ashtanga yogi. Here is the situation. If the mind is purified after meditating on the Virat Rupa form of the Lord, then he becomes advanced. He can come here and again focus on the Paramatma, then go into the liberation process. But here, again, his mind is not purified. Okay, still he has doubts. Still he has material desires. He's not able to withdraw senses. then for him, it is better to follow this procedure, which is called Krama Mukti. What is Krama? Krama means very detailed. Mukti means liberation, right? So this procedure where he has to go step by step. That means starting from the lowest planet, where he says, okay, the lowest planet, Patal Lokas, are nothing but the limbs of the Lord, then comes to the shanks of the Lord, then knees of the Lord, then hip of the Lord. Like that, step by step, he comes all the way, he goes to the eyes, and then he understands, oh, these are the different limbs of the Lord. He starts. That means people who are still not able to purify it, they're going to go into that detail. That means there's a second level of detail now. By meditating on it, if they're able to meditate so deeply and they're able to cross over these four planetary system, then they have to meditate on these five gross elements, which these 14 planetary system were created from, which is earth, water, fire, air. So all these things is what he meditates on, and he pierces, crosses over that, and he crosses over this false ego, the reverse. So from sound, pradhana to mahatattva to false ego to five gross elements, and then the creation. The same thing he does in the reverse order. When he's able to cross over all these things, he gets liberation. Okay, so this is a very difficult path, and this is easy path. Faster, easier, and it's a difficult path. But yet, the object of liberation, he reaches the impersonal Brahman. So this is what Sukadeva Goswami concludes. Okay. Now, are you all clear with this chart? Because this chart is the key for you to understand. When we do a comparative analysis to Bhakti Yoga, this chart becomes the key for you to understand. Anyone has a question here or not clear, you please tell me. I will explain you so that you can move forward. Hare Krishna. So looks like everyone is clear?
Yes, Prabhu. Clear, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhu, in that Paramatma meditation, no, Prabhu, the soul comes out through that Brahmarandra, and then it goes directly to Brahma Jyoti, Prabhu. It doesn't have to go through all these planets and these crossovers.
No. Straight away, it reaches the Brahma Jyoti.
Brahma Jyoti, okay. But in this case also, the soul will come out and it has to travel through.
In the destination is Brahma Jyoti, there is no, but the path of traverse is complicated and easy. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So are we good here? Any other questions by anyone else?
That means this is the elaborate process which the impersonalists are following, Prabhu.
Elaborate process.
I mean, the lengthy, long process.
Lengthy or the short, it depends on one's state of consciousness.
Okay, Prabhu.
Is it clear?
Yes,
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Okay, so now what shall we do is, now we'll go try to read the slokas connected to this. Okay. I'll share this. Okay. So now if you are clear with this concept, or it's not getting shared, why? Okay. Are you able to see the slokas now?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Good. Okay, so now we will read the sloka where we will try to relate what Sukadeva Goswami is trying to tell us. So, by today's chapter, we should conclude the end of Ashtanga Yoga and also what is the goal that Prabhupada is talking about. Some nice purports are there, we'll discuss about that. Okay? So 1.22 Rajo Vacham Yata Sandaryate Brahman Dharana Yatra Sammata Yadrishiva Haredashu Purushasya Manomalam. King Person says, so these are the three questions that he inquires, right? He's inquiring further, or describe in full detail. What does he want to describe? How is dharana accomplished? We talked about it, right? How dharana is accomplished. Then he says, what is the object of this dharanasya? That means, what is the object of one's meditation? Which path he takes? So that's the second question. Then the third question is, at what point in time the mind gets purified and what will be his destination, right? So that also we discussed. Right? So that's what this sloka is trying to tell. So at the end of the sloka, you can conclude that is the mind purified or not? If the mind is not purified from the objects of desire, that means he will get into the bondage of birth, death, old age, and cycle in different forms. So that is the key, right? So purification of the consciousness, purification of the mind is very important. Okay. Let's go to the next sloka, 1.23. Sri Sukha Uvacha Jitasano Jitasvaso Jitasango Jitendriyah Stule Bhagavato Rupe Manas Sandarayaddiya. Now look at it. Jita Asana. Jita means how to control. Right? Jita Asana means controlling the sitting posture. Asana. Okay. Then second, Jita Swaso. Then controlling the breath. Then Jita Sango. Sangha means association. So Jita Sangha means how to control whom we associate with. Right? Avoiding materialistic people, avoiding impersonalist people, and then taking more and more association of devotees. Right? And then Jitendriya. Indriya means senses. Right? How to control the senses. Right? After controlling all these things, he says, Tule Bhagavata Rupe. That means how to fix yourself on the form of the Lord, whatever may be his object of worship. Right? So then this is sloka which is trying to tell the second part that we talked about, how do one control, right? Sukadeva Goswami answered, one should control the sitting posture, regulate the breathing process by the yogic pranayama, and thus control the mind, senses, and with intelligence apply the mind to the gross potencies of the Lord, called the Virata Rupa. Right? Purport. Can someone read the purport?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Can I read, Prabhu?
Read, Prabhu.
The materially absorbed mind of conditioned soul does not allow him to transcend the limit of the bodily conception of self. And thus the yoga system of meditation, controlling the sitting posture and breathing process and fixing the mind upon the Supreme, is prescribed in order to mold the character of the gross materialist. Unless such materialists are able to cleanse the materially absorbed mind, it is impossible for them to concentrate upon thoughts of transcendence. And to do so, one may fix one's mind on the gross material or external feature of the Lord.
Okay. So one may argue here, Prabhu, you're saying Lord is spiritual, then how to equate the Lord to the material aspect of it, right? So Prabhupada answers very brilliantly. He says that this material world, this material universe is also from the energy of the Lord. That means it also manifests from the Lord. That means this is also, one way from the spiritual energy of the Lord. But what is the issue is, this material energy of the Lord, it induces forgetfulness of the Lord. It makes us to not to remember the Lord at every point in time. And hence, we go away and away from the Lord. Okay. So, but otherwise, this is also from the material energy is also from the spiritual energy of the Lord only. Okay. So, we discussed this part of it, saying that unless material unable to cleanse the mind materially absorbed mind, it is impossible for them to concentrate. So what is the cleansing? If we involve ourselves into too many materialistic activities, right, the mind is always not purified. Because what does the material energy induce? The first thing the material energy induces is, you should always remember this, material energy induces us with impurities. It first of all makes us to forget the Supreme Lord Krishna. That's what it does. Material energy means ignorance. Ignorance about the relationship of one with the Lord and the Lord personal features is the ignorance that material energy induces. That means it first makes us to forgetfulness of the Lord. Second, what does the energy does? It makes you to think that you're the enjoyer of this place because there's no Lord. Since there's no Lord, you're the master, you're the enjoyer. This is what the material energy does to us. So, if we continue to engage ourselves in this material transaction, the mind becomes impurified. In an impure state of mind, he says, it is impossible for them to concentrate upon the transcendence aspect of the Lord. So one has to come out of this. This is what the conclusion of this is. Okay. Can you read the next para also? The highlighted.
Yes, Prabhu. He is therefore recommended to fix his gross materialistic mind by a different conception and thus realize the potency of the Lord. As soon as the potencies are understood to be instrumental manifestation of the transcendence, one automatically advances to the next step. And gradually, the stage of full realization becomes possible for him. Hare Hare.
Yeah. So, for people who have realized, directly methods are introduced. For people who are not able to realize, it's very difficult for them. You given step by step indirect method, but the conclusion is what? They have to somehow realize the law, right? So that's the method. So now is Ashtanga Yoga very clear for all of you? Are you able to relate with what we are talking about?
Yes,
No,
Prabhu.
it is clear.
Good. Because Ashtanga Yoga is the most complex subject. If you're able to understand this nicely, then now you know, oh, Prabhu, Ashtanga Yoga not possible, Prabhu, we better practice Bhakti Yoga. Okay, and that's what we are doing, but now we need to fine tune that. Okay, now let's look at the sloka number 24. Visheshastasya dehoyam stavishtascha stavishayam yatendriyam vyajate vishvam bhutam bhavyam bhavaccha sat. This gigantic manifestation of the phenomenal material world as a whole is the personal body of the absolute truth, right? Wherein the universal resultant, past, present, and future of the material time is experienced. So the Virat Rupa, which we discussed about, not only gives a snapshot view of this entire creation of this universe. This universe means the solar system, one anda, but it also tells you time. That means in the past what happened, the present what's going to happen, the future what's going to happen, right? So if you remember this sloka, right, where Krishna and Arjuna is having this conversation, evam parampara praptin. So where Krishna is telling Arjuna that, oh Arjuna, there was never a time that you were not born. You were there, I was there. You are there and I am there, and you will be there and I will also be there. So it means in the past, present, and future, both of us continue to exist. Then what is the difference between you and me? The only difference. No, but why is this a sound? Please mute. Okay. So Krishna is telling Arjuna that in the past you existed, in the present you are existing, future also you will exist. Not only you, along with me. But what's the difference between you and me? The only difference between you and me is that every time when time moves, you will change your body. But I don't change my body. I remain in the same transcendental body. And every time when you change the body, you forget what happened in the previous life or the previous instances. But I remember at every instance of my life, and every instance of your life, and every instance of everyone's life. And that's the difference between you and me, Arjuna, he says. Right? So this Kala, which is Krishna, is so amazing that Arjuna was made to experience for a short duration of time the past, present, and future about what this Kala is. And then Arjuna said, oh Krishna, please don't give me this aspect of time because I'm unable to comprehend. Right? Now imagine if any one of us is given time as such to remember our past experience, well, we'll go mad because it is a conflict in our personality. Now let's say in the previous birth we were a woman and the current birth we are a man. Now man, I have certain manly features, manly consciousness, but in the women I have womanly sentiments and feelings. Now both will clash each other and it causes a trauma in our mental aspects, and then we'll suffer for it. And hence it's a causeless mercy. Krishna tells Arjuna that I make you to forget your past life. Right? So everything is this one. But unfortunately, what happens when Krishna makes us to forget our past life? What happens? Every day we are forgetting. Every day we are forgetting what we want to do, and that is the nature of this material world. We forget Krishna also. So hence, devotees offer prayers. Oh Krishna, in case I don't get liberated, but in the next birth, please give me a causeless mercy. Make me an association of devotees. Make me an association of sadhu sangha is so important so that I constantly remember you. This is the most important aspect. Bharata Maharaj, he was in the state of bhava, but he fell down. But the causeless mercy of the Lord was, he was able to remember his past life in the dear body. Thereby he realized his mistake. Oh God, I should not do this. I'll practice. So you see how the causeless mercy of the Lord is continuously acting on us at different points in time. It is just that, we have our own desires and activities and wrong consciousness that we are going in an improper path. Okay, can someone else read this highlight? A newcomer is appreciated. Relatively newcomer.
Will I read Prabhuji?
Read Mataji.
Anything, either material or spiritual, is but an expansion of energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 13.13, the omnipotent Lord has his transcendental eyes, heads, and other bodily parts distributed everywhere. He can see, hear, touch, or manifest himself anywhere and everywhere. For he is present everywhere as the super soul of all infinitesimal souls, although he has his particular abode in the absolute world. The
relative
world is also his phenomenal representation because it is nothing but an expansion of his transcendental energy.
So we talked about, right? So this material world is also an expansion of this transcendental energy, right? So what is that we conclude out of this? We conclude out of this is Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Everywhere it is Vasudeva. But the different forms of representation is what is there. A realized soul, devotee, he sees all these different forms of representation, but he connects to the original source, that Supreme Vasudeva. But others, they get deluded, they get aghast with these different representations, and they connect to that Lord at that point in time. But by the causeless mercy of the Lord, slowly he makes progress and progress and progress and comes to understanding that the lotus feet of the Lord is the ultimate goal. Okay? Okay, so let's go to the next sloka. Sloka number 25. Andakoshe sharirasmin saptavarana samyute vairaja purusho yasau bhagavan dharanashrayah. So the gigantic universal form of the personality of Godhead within the body of the initial cell, which is covered by sevenfold material elements, is subject for the Virat conception. Right? So we talked about the Virata conception, how the different layers are to be considered. Now he is getting into the aspect of understanding the different limbs of the Lord. So this we are in sloka number 25. Okay. So in sloka number 25, okay, can someone read this highlight? Materialistic men. Someone read this.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Materialistic men can think, although very imperfectly, of the huge universal space, comprehending an innumerable number of planets as big as the sun. They can see only the circular sky overhead without any information that this universe, as well as many other hundreds of thousands of universes, are each covered by sevenfold material coverings of water, fire, air, sky, ego, what is it, Prabhuji? Nomen and material nature, just like a huge football pumped and covered, floating on the water of the casual ocean, wherein the Lord is playing as Mahavishnu. All the universes in seed are emanating from the breathing of the Mahavishnu, who is but part of a partial expansion of the Lord, and all the universes presided over by the Brahmas vanish when the Mahavishnu withdraws his great breath. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So it is giving expansion about the comparative understanding about how do you understand the limitations of the Virat Rupa and how this is being created, How is the universal form created? So he is just giving you details on it. So the object of meditation for a person in Dharana state is the Virat Rupa of the Lord. So that's where he is concluding. Now, if you go back to the chart that we talked about, if you look at this chart here, if someone is not able to conclude this Virat Rupa, is able to get purified here, yes, then he is in the success path of Dhyana Samadhi. But if his mind is still not able to purify, still not able to comprehend, then he's telling, we'll go into the details, where he's trying to get into every limbs of the Lord, where he's equating with every planets. And that is what we're going to read now. Okay, so let's share that again. Okay, so let's look at sloka number 126. Patalam etasya hi padamulam patanti parshni prapade rasatalam mahattalam vishwastrijo ata gulpau talatalam vaipurushasya jange. So now, if you look at the translation, he says, persons who have realized it have studied that the planets known as Patala constitute the bottom of the feet of the Lord, and the heels and toes are the Rasatala planets. The ankles are Mahatala planets, and the shanks constitute Talatala planets. So now, the mind is not purified even after meditating on the Virat Rupa form of the Lord. So now he says, they have to go into the detailing. So that is the detailing of this sloka at 126, right? So what I've done is I prepared a sheet which will tell us the different slokas, different expansions. Okay. So are you able to see this? Krishna?
Yes, Prabhu.
So this is telling now the detailing of the Virat Rupa. This is for still an impure mind, a neophyte devotee, where he has to go meditate on the details, so that he'll be able to conclude that somewhere I'm able to understand there is a personal form. So in sloka number 26, you will say, there is Patala, which talks about bottom feet of the Lord. Then Rasatala is to be equated to heels and toes of the Lord. Mahatala, ankles. Talatala, shanks. So what does this mean? You are trying to tell that when you see the bottom, when you see the planet Patala, so the Patala is also now he's also imagining, but he's at least imagining something on the material planets, right? So this Patala is nothing but the bottom feet of the Lord. So you are giving an analogy for him to meditate upon, right? So this is easy to comprehend rather than comprehending the Achinta Veda Tattva Shakti of the Lord, Bhagavan. So this is easy to comprehend. Like that, he says, Mahatala is like your ankles, and Talatala is the shanks of the Lord. Shanks are between the ankle and the knee, that portion. Okay. Then he says, if you go to Sutala planet, there's a planet called Sutala, and that is nothing but the knees of the Lord. Then Vitala, lower part of the two thighs. Right? Then Atala is upper part of the two thighs. Then Mahatala is earth, or consumed with the hip, which is the Martya Loka. Then Bhuvar. Bhuvar is outer space, which is navel. Right? So there is this planet called Bhuvar, which is in between Bhur, which is the earth planet, and Suvar. Suvar is Swargaloka. So this Bhur planet is the planet of the Brahma Rakshasas. Brahmanas who performed abominable activities, they take the body of Rakshasas and they go to this Bhuvar planets. Right? Okay. So for example, Prahlad Maharaj is from the Bhuvar planet, because Prahlad Maharaj is descending from the family of demons, Asuras. Right? So Prahlad Maharaj is from the Bhuvar planet. Okay. Then we have Swargaloka, which is nothing but the chest of the Lord. Then Maharloka is the neck of the Lord. Janaloka is mouth and face of the Lord. Tapaloka, forehead. Satyaloka is head of the Lord. Right? So you see, there are multiple descriptions of this Virat Rupa. So for example, you also have another description of Virat Rupa where it said, the Varnas are also equal to the Virat Rupa of the Lord. How? For example, the Brahmanas are the head, the Kshatriyas are the shoulders and the hands of the Lord, and then the Vaishyas are of course the chest, and then the Vaishyas are the stomach of the Lord, and the Sudras are below the stomach, all the legs of the Lord. Right? So that also you will have an equation. So you will see there are different levels of equation about how the Lord is. So all of these make what do you say? Examples are given to make you understand the personal features of the Lord, and that is your ultimate goal. Okay. So if you read the purports, you will see 26, 27, 28 sloka numbers that describe about different limbs of the Lord. Okay, now let's go to the sloka again. Okay, so you can just see the translation for 27. The knees of the uniform of the Lord are planetary system named Sutala. Two thighs are Vitala. Atala planetary system. The hips are Mahatala. And the outer space is depression of his navel. Right. Then 28. 28 says, the chest of the personality of gigantic form is the luminary planetary system. His neck is the Mahar planets. His mouth is the Janus planets. And his forehead is the Tapas planet. The topmost planetary system known as Satyaloka is a head who has 1000 heads. Right. So now you can see the angas of the Lord is explained so that the practitioner, the yogi, can somehow understand the personal feature of the Lord. Okay. The personal feature of the Lord is not understood, cannot be understood by our own effort, can be understood only by the causeless mercy of the Lord. Okay. So by practicing this yoga, the mercy of the Lord will get revealed and he'll be able to do it. Right. So now go back to the creation. Brahmaji, when he was created, he didn't see the personal features of the Lord. He was just thinking, who am I? I don't know. I don't have any knowledge. I don't know who am I. So he was taught the Gayatri Mantra, the Gopala Gayatri Mantra. Then what did he do? When he started to meditate on it continuously, because of his meditation to practice on the Gayatri Mantra, what happened? The Lord manifested in his heart. He made him to realize who he was, what is his identity, then what is his prescribed duties, what he is supposed to do. Right? So then what he did? He started to understand his prescribed duties, then he started to execute and act on this creation. That is the aspect of Brahmaji. Now, this is what you have to understand. Now, when he is made to meditate on the limbs of the Lord, by the causeless mercy of the Lord, he will understand the personal features of the Lord and the next step in his practice of devotion. So that is how the Lord takes one in a progressive path. Right? Okay. Now, 1.29. So 1.29 is now going to the next level of detail. What is the detail? So now we talked about gross objects. Now we are going to go into detailed objects. What is gross objects? For example, if I say nose. Nose is something that is used to breathe, to smell and things like that. But nose is just a gross element. But inside the nose, there are many, many things. For example, you have nostrils. Then you have certain, sensory cells that can detect the smell and transmit to the brain. Then there is some nervous system. So all this is compromising called the nose. So now here in this explanation, Sukadeva Goswami is telling more detailness of every aspect of the law, right? And that is the description we are going to see. Now, for example, in 29 sloka, what he says, his arms are the demigods. Now, in the previous one, he says, in the gross level, now we'll go detail level. Headed by Lord Indra. The 10 directional sides are his ears. And the physical sound is his sense of hearing. His nostrils are the 2 Ashwini Kumaras, and the material fragrance is the sense of smell. His mouth is the blazing fire. So now Sukadeva Goswami is going to very detail as to each and every limb contains sub-elements, and how do you make these sub-elements connect to every detailed portion anga of the Lord. So the goal is what? The goal is somehow bring him into the personal concept of the Lord. And that will be the goal. Correct? So able to understand the step-by-step description. First is the gross element, which is Virat Rupa. Then the limbs at the gross level. Then the detail level of each limbs. And that's how these slokas are manifested. Okay. So now from sloka number 29, I want you to read where you'll understand the details of every anga of the Lord and how it is explained. Okay. It is just every detail, how it is related to an element here. Okay. So we'll now straight away go to sloka number 38. So 38 and 39 is the conclusion, where Sukadeva Goswami is going to conclude what is the meaning of all these things that we discussed. Okay. Iyanashva Ishvara Vigrasya Yas Sannivesha Katito Mayate Sandaryate asmin vapushi. Sandhyarate asmin vapushi staviste. Manasva buddhyana yato asti kinchit. I have thus explained you the gross material gigantic conception of the personality of Godhead. So in the gross, he took three stages. The Virat Rupa in whole, then he took the limbs of the Lord, and he took each and every limb of the Lord and explained still more detail. So this is how he explained. And for a devotee or a yogi who is a practitioner of Ashtanga Yoga, if his mind is not purified, you better induce him to the detail of each and every aspect of the Lord and equate it to one material element. That way he will conclude the personal aspect of it. Okay. One who seriously desires liberation, concentrate his mind on this form of the Lord because there is nothing more than this in this material world. So in this material world, all other aspects that we are thinking, there is no meaning. The real purpose of a living entity is just to worship the Lord. All other aspects of this creation are taken care by the Lord itself. Whatever we are doing, called as technology, advancement in economy, is all unwanted things. The real goal of our life, the only duty that we need to perform, is to just worship the Lord and nothing else. So how to get yourself fixed up on this aspect of how to worship the Lord, how to do activities for the pleasure of the Lord, is the real goal of life. If one is able to realize that goal, then you'll see, take the easiest process, that is Bhakti Yoga. Okay, now that's what he's explaining here. So can someone read this highlight? Hare Krishna. Can someone read this?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Can a newcomer read? Hare Krishna. Okay, let me pick the name, otherwise. Okay, Lalita Mataji, can you read?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, please read.
Less intelligent persons with a profound of knowledge cannot accommodate the thought of this inconceivable potency of the Lord Sri Krishna, by which he appears just like a human being. His appearance in the material world as one of us is also his causeless mercy upon the fallen souls.
He is transcendental to all.
He is transcendental to all material conceptions, but by his unbounded mercy upon his pure devotees, he comes down and manifests himself as the personality of Godhead. Materialistic philosophers and scientists are too much engrossed with atomic energy and the gigantic situation of the universal form, and they offer respect more seriously to the external phenomenal features of material manifestation than to the nominal principle of spiritual existence. The transcendental form of Lord is beyond the jurisdiction of such materialistic activities, and it is very difficult to conceive that the Lord can be simultaneously localized and all
Pervasive.
pervasive,
Pervasive.
because the materialistic philosophers and scientists think of everything in terms of their own experiences. Because they are unable to accept the personal features of Supreme Lord, the Lord is kind enough to demonstrate the Virat features of his transcendental form, and herein Srila Sukadev Goswami has vividly
Describe.
described this form of the Lord. He concludes that there is nothing beyond this gigantic feature of the Lord.
Yeah.
Hare
Okay. So there are two kinds of people, materialistic and transcendentalist. For materialist, it is impossible to understand that, oh, there is one person called Shyamasundara He is the cause of all causes. So for them, the step-by-step taking into equating the elements of this material energy to the Lord is the recommended method. Okay, so that way he will understand. So how do we make it very simple? So for example, if you take Einstein, who is regarded as one of the greatest scientists in the history of our, the lineage of scientist community, he said that after all the research was done, he said that even though I made a lot of this discrete theory of relativity and many other theories that he came with, he said, there is an intelligent supreme being in this entire creation, which is beyond my perception, which is beyond everyone's understanding. So without that intelligent design, such an universe can never be created and exist. That's what he said. So he concluded that there is something supreme, and which I don't know the details. That is because he's not practicing devotee. So people like that, who are called material philosophers, for them, these methods are recommended so that an indirect understanding of the Lord can manifest in their heart. Right? But for transcendentalists, who already passed through all the stages, who know that the Lord is personal, for them, practicing on the personal features of the Lord is so easy. When someone chants the Hare Krishna mantra, he can easily relate to the personal pastimes and activities of the Lord. When he hears this Damodar Leela, he doesn't see one small child doing some what do you say, an activities of crime or anything like that. He just sees the merciful nature of the Lord, the attractive rupa of the Lord, the attractive pastimes of the Lord. That's what he sees. So you see the consciousness of a devotee and consciousness of a non-devotee. And that is the most important conclusion that we take home as a message. So, the goal of a transcendentalist is to worship the Lord, and he enjoys every activity and pastime. So he never gets bewildered. When Krishna lifts the Govardhan hill, he never supplies physics. How is it possible to lift such a hill? Where there can be strength? It is defying gravity. He doesn't apply any of those skills. He just thinks of the Achinta Shakti of the Lord, that he can do this. When the cobbler asked whether I can push the elephant into the eye hole of a needle, the cobbler understood, said, yeah, it is possible because the Lord can exist in an atom and the Lord can exist as Virat Rupa also. That's what a devotee thinks. But a non-devotee, he applies his physics knowledge, his laboratory knowledge. And he says, oh, how is it possible? How can something which is molecular in size can become Himalayas in size? How is it possible? Not possible. So that is the difference. And hence, Sukadeva Goswami is explaining these details. Okay? Unless one comes into the personal feature of the Lord, he really cannot practice what is called as worship. When he does not worship the Lord, he cannot get liberated. He will be conditioned into this material life. So that is how the devotees and the acharyas, the books, everything is helping people to come to a platform of transcendental nature. Okay? Is the conclusion giving you clarity?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, good. Okay, now this is the last sloka of 39, so let's read this. Very, very nice purport this is. Let's pay attention to this purport and we'll end today's class. Okay, 39. Sa sarvadi vritti anubhuta sarva atmayata swapna janake sitaika tam satyam anandanidam bhajate nanyatra sajjet yata atmapataha. One should concentrate his mind upon the supreme personality of Godhead. Look at this is called it is contained three words. Godhead, that means head of all gods. If you think demigods, this god, that god, no. There's head to all these gods. That is only one person, Godhead. Then he is considered supreme. He is topmost. There is no one supreme than him. That is supreme Godhead. Then there's the word personality is used. What's personality? It means is a person. What's the meaning of a person? A person means it indicates to us that means you can reciprocate with him. That means if I give him something, he gives back. If I do something, he does back. That means I can reciprocate. Now you can decide what I want to reciprocate with this person. If I reciprocate certain transaction for my benefit, then that's not a good reciprocation. But if I reciprocate something that pleases the other person also will reciprocate to me that pleases me. And that can be considered supreme. And that reciprocation is nothing but your devotional service. When you practice your devotional service, that means worship in love, the Lord also shelters you in love. He nourishes every aspect of yourself with His Achinta Shakti. That is the goal, right? So one should concentrate his mind upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who alone distributes Himself in so many manifestations, just as ordinary person create thousands of manifestations in dreams. One must concentrate the mind on Him, the only all blissful absolute truth. Otherwise, one will be misled, will cause his own degradation. So that means we have to conclude, if I'm talking about Krishna, I have to just focus on Krishna. I have to focus on detailness of Krishna's life, activities, whatever it is. And that should be the blissful conclusion. If I miss this, if I say, no, not Krishna, I will do something else, I'll do this, I'll do that, just like Bhagavan, Hari, Sarvatma, if I miss on the other aspects, then what happens? We get lost. We may get degraded also. Okay. So we want to read this purport. Okay. So can someone come forward? Who can come forward to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandat Pranam. Can I
Yes.
read, Prabhu?
Please read. Yeah.
Yeah.
Read the first yellow and green, Prabhu.
Okay, Prabhu. The Supreme Lord is one, and His expansions are various. He is therefore the super soul of everything. When a man sees anything, he must know that his seeing is secondary and the Lord's seeing is primary. One cannot see anything without the Lord's having first seen it. That is the instruction of the Vedas and the Upanishads. So, whatever we see or do, the super soul of all acts of seeing or doing is the Lord. This theory of simultaneous oneness and difference between the individual soul and the super soul is propounded by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the philosophy of Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. The Virat Rupa, or the gigantic feature of the Supreme Lord, includes everything materially manifested, and therefore the Virat or gigantic feature of the Lord is the super soul of all living and non-living entities. But the Virat Rupa is also the manifestation of Narayana or Vishnu, and going further on and on, one will eventually see that Lord Krishna is the ultimate super soul of everything that be. The conclusion is that one should unhesitatingly become a worshipper of Lord Krishna, or for that matter, his planetary expansion,
Plenary.
Narayana, and none else.
Plenary means portion. His plenary expansion, Narayana and none else. Okay. Okay. So also read the bottom yellow, Prabhu.
Yeah. The example given in this verse very nicely is that of the dreaming man. The dreaming man creates many things in his dream, and
Thus he himself
thus he himself becomes the entangled seer of the dream and is also affected by the consequences. This material creation is also exactly a dream-like creation of the Lord, but he, being the transcendental super soul, is neither entangled nor affected by the reactions of such dreamlike creation. He is always in his transcendental position, but essentially he is everything and nothing is apart from him. As a part of him, one should therefore concentrate on him only, without deviation. Otherwise, one is sure to be overcome by the potencies of the material creation one after another. It is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 9.7 as follows. Sarva bhutani kaunteya prakritim yanti mamaikam kalpakshe punastani kalpadav visrajamyadham. O son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium, every material manifestation enters into my nature, and at the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I again create. The human life, however, is an opportunity to get out of this repetition of creation and annihilation. It is a means whereby one may escape the Lord's external potency and enter into his internal potency. Hare Krishna.
Hari Hari. So, the conclusion of the entire thing is very simple. All this material manifestation are like a dream or very temporary nature. He's been created for a particular purpose. The real abode is a supreme manifestation. Starting from the Lord is abode, is an entourage, etc., whatever it may be. So, our original place, our real goal is that, and not this temporary creation. So we shall not get aghast with Virat Rupa, will not get aghast with all other material aspect of it. We just understand the energy of the Lord. It is created to give me one opportunity. What is that one opportunity? To get a human body, and within that human body, get an opportunity to realize the Lord. So, our real purpose of existence is not what we are doing on this material plane. Many activities we are doing, do this business, do that business, that activity, this activity. So many activities are going on in this material world. Just take Google today and then look at what's happening around. So much, unlimited. And within that activities, there's so much of fights, enviness, lust, all these things. These are all not the purpose of my life. My purpose of the life is what? To do proper worship of my Supreme Lord Krishna. By that proper worship, when he is pleased by my activities, he will reveal his true nature to me. And by realizing and tasting the true nature, I get an opportunity to enter his internal potency. Otherwise, we are marginal energy. What is that marginal energy? Marginal energy refers to the fact that I can enter and stay in the internal potency of the Lord, or I can enter and stay in the external potency of the Lord. So I get both options because I'm marginal. So now currently I'm in the external potency of the Lord. Lord is giving me methods, rules, and ideas, information to move from this external potency to the internal potency of the Lord. That is the real goal. So Lord is giving us a human body, the proper intelligence, and then proper association, time, place, circumstances favorable to practice. And what we need to do? Get all these things, absorb our mind. Just do only one thing in our life. What is it? Worship Him. Worship Him with love. When you worship Him with love, do not get disturbed by various material activities that are happening around us. It may be favorable, it may be unfavorable, because that's the nature of this material creation. Material creation is chanchalam, keeps on varying, keeps on making us to forget Krishna. So do not get worried about it. Your goal of this life is just to worship the Lord and nothing else. Right? When that worship is pure, lovable, focused on the Lord reciprocates. It changes our life. That is the conclusion of this. Okay? So we will stop here. Any questions and thoughts? Were you able to understand this entire explanation on Ashtanga Yoga and Bhakti Yoga?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavad Pranam.
Yes, ma'am, Dandavad
Pranam. Due respect to everybody and no, I'm not offending anybody. Prabhu, the conclusion part, I follow. It's ultimately, but so much of tattva and philosophy in this particular chapter, I'm not able to grasp all that. Is that okay? Ultimately, it is. I know that you have to worship the Supreme Lord. that I'll be doing it. But in between, a lot of philosophies come which I'm not able to grasp, Prabhu. Is it because of
So the aspects of Ashtanga Yoga, at least for a practicing devotee, is an information. Okay. And now, when an information is given, you understand the superiority of something else. So, for example, let's say you made a halwa, okay, and that halwa was not good in taste. But if you're not explained that that halwa is not good in taste, with another properly made halwa, you will never know the inferiority or the superiority of the contents that you made. Right? So, if you want to understand the glory of Bhakti Yoga, then you will, if we give a comparative understanding of what other yoga exists and how complicated it is, who it applies for, you will not be able to appreciate the glory of Bhakti Yoga. So, hence, that becomes one of the reasons. For a devotee who's convinced, who's firm and fixed on practicing devotion service to the Lord, this other methods of yoga is just an information. It is not something that you take it, follow it, or do something with it. Okay, but the comparative information is given for you to understand the superiority and the gratefulness nature, the merciful nature of the Lord on us. That is the most important point you carry forward. Coming to the second aspect, the reason why you are not able to follow is you are not paying attention. We are going very, very step by step. So if you are not paying attention, and that could be one of the reasons why you are not able to follow it. We are not using very high technical terms. We're using simple stuff, and then we're using flowcharts. Why, whom this is applicable, whom this is not applicable. So you have to reflect on yourself as to why you're not paying attention. Now, in science, generally, why people don't pay attention. I was trying to do some research on this. What causes distraction in one's mind? It's very simple. Now, let's say, my mother makes 10 varieties of food today. In that, 3, 4 I like a lot, and 7, 8 are like not my favorite. You know what's my tendency? I first want to eat the 3, 4 which I like. Another 7, 8, if it is pushed to me, if there's no option, I'll eat, otherwise I'll skip. This is how the mind works. So similarly, on topics of hearing also, if I'm not interested in a particular topic, my mind shuts the door and does not want to hear. And that is the issue with our mind. And hence we don't pay attention. So the topic also of interest matters to the mind. Now, an advanced devotee, what does he do? Anything related to the Lord, anything related to the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam, he sees that as a mercy of the Lord and he pays attention. So there is a realization aspect that we accept everything connected to the Lord and we pay attention to. So that will happen over a period of time to us, and that is when we come to the advanced stages. So since your mind may be blocking about this topic, and that's why you're not paying attention, is what I am guesstimating based on your interaction.
Because the whole of first canto, maybe because it is there in between stories come and examples and all. Here only towards the end we got an example, but because of that, probably I'll read and reread once again and try to understand.
Story is good, but story is just an analogy. Story is not the real substance. The real substance is the technical description of it. So, since the story is very flowery and very engrossing, we get paid attention to. But if you read Bhagavad Gita is fully technical. Srimad Bhagavatam is a combination of technical and stories, which makes it to make more interesting. So that's why you see many devotees, even today in our movement, they are not good with Bhagavad Gita, but they're okay with Bhagavatam because of this phenomenon. Okay, Mataji?
Yes, true.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, ma'am.
Prabhu, in Ishopanishad also it is given that knowing material creation and spiritual creation, or material knowledge and spiritual knowledge will lead to liberation, like that it is given, Prabhu.
Yeah, because this material knowledge also is manifested from Krishna only. Right? You have to understand the boundary conditions of this material knowledge. Then you will see. Otherwise, what will you think? Oh, material means I'll stay away because it causes problem. No, material knowledge also is Krishna. If I see a scissor, okay, this is also energy of the Lord, this scissor, but I can use it in service of the Lord. It becomes spiritual.
We have to balance it.
Yes. Material knowledge gives me ignorance. Let me overcome it by adding Krishna to everything that we do and spiritualize that. And that is perfection, no? That's what Ishopanishad is saying. So do not see differences. Duality, seeing the difference is also material in nature. No, don't see the differences. That's the point.
Thank you.
What does real Vidya Vinaya Sampanna means? Different material bodies are, I don't see the difference. I don't see dualities. This is another aspect of seeing dualities. So don't see dualities. Okay?
Yes, Prabhu.
I'll put it for
Okay.
I
Yeah.
had one doubt, Prabhu. Higher planets, people with higher consciousness live, Prabhu. But why Brahma Rakshasas are above Earth planet, Prabhu? Are they better than human beings?
So, for example, a Brahmana who's well educated and things like that, he performs some abominable acts, right? That means even though he is fed with all Shastric knowledge, but he is committing crimes like demon or doing an activities like demon. So, hence they come into the Brahma Rakshasa planet. Very simple. All our activities lead to our destination. What we do, what we sow, is what we reap. What we do as an activity today is the destination for us. There's no doubt about it. We may say, I am very comfortable now, but that's in the current life. What about the next life? And how many lives we've had? Millions, millions, and millions of births we've had. So, what's the big deal about it? So, be very watchful of what you're doing now. And the Brahma Rakshasas have led to this because of certain acts that they've done. And hence they are into that planet. Someone desiring Svargaloka will lead the planet of Indra. Someone who's worshipping the Pitrus will go to the Patal Lokas with the Pitraloka. So what you act is your destination. What's the difference? Where's the confusion there?
I have to explain why they are above us, Prabhu.
That is after we pass away from this.
You can desire, you can even desire to be a Brahma. For example, you may practice excellent devotion service, but you may want to control every devotee, control everything. You will be competing with Brahmaji. And which is very high, topmost, right? You may practice a lot of devotion, but you may have a lot of sex desire. You may be born among the women in Indraloka. See, your act is abominable, but still you're on higher planets. So we don't know what combination leads to what.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
But my understanding is this Bhuvarloka, it is not when we are living, it is after we pass away that we are awarded there, isn't it, Prabhu?
All life is always like that. All awards are like that only. Okay. All awards that we get is the next life only.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you all. So in the next class, we'll be starting with 2.2. 2.2 is very, very interesting, where he's going to go into detail of dhyana. That is Paramatma, the Lord in the heart. Okay. So don't get worried about this technicality aspect. If you understand the class slowly, step by step, you will actually appreciate it. I mean, I love this. I love the subject so deeper, and then I go deeper and deeper into it. Right? So read your purports. If you have any doubts, call me or send me a message. I will clarify you. So that way we can move forward very nicely. Okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you all. Have a great day. And practice your Krishna consciousness to the best of your ability. Focus on real goal of your life. Okay? Randrash Bhagavatam ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai. Gurudev ki jai. Hi Gaur Premanande. Vancha kalpatarobhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Vaishnav Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Tat Sat. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat pranam.
Dandavat pranam, Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank
Krishna
you.
Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Dhanush.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna. Okay. I'll end the class now.